Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good actually. Yeah, today was an exciting day in regards of games and stuff like that. Did you
Yes,
actually watch the state of play from the PlayStation?
I actually didn't watch it live, but I did catch up on the games that they were showcasing. Yeah, so I did have a look at it. How about you? Did you watch it live?
Not really. I started and then because it was during work hours, so I couldn't watch it live really. I just watched a couple of trailers later on.
And
That's my little one. Hello, Fabian.
that's cute.
Yeah, no. I didn't watch it completely, so I'm not quite sure what exactly was announced. I mean, I have an idea, of course, but
Yep,
time is a problem. Anyway,
of course.
we have the Dylan. Actually, the state of play was terrible in my opinion. So why? Because I would like to know this. So I didn't. Let's say like this. I was expecting a little bit more in terms of games because at least I was expecting Bloodborne remaster for PC or PlayStation 5 as well, and maybe maybe other games. It was a little bit not anyway.
Yeah,
So what do you think?
I'm curious to see everyone's opinion, but Dylan was quite upfront, so I'd be very curious if you want to follow up on that one. But for me personally, I found it very lackluster and underwhelming. Like I'm just kind of looking on a different tab at the moment at the list of games, and I just feel like this is kind of just continuing that cycle of persistence we're in, where games are just really low
Yeah.
quality. Like the graphics are looking cool and stuff, but the depth and the soul of the games, I feel like it's kind of lost its way. I just don't feel there's anything here that really caught my eye. There was a few 2D side
There was
scrollers.
actually one game which caught my eye, but I mean, Aaron is I was hoping the world they they would show more PlayStation 5 Pro related stuff, to be honest. So yes, I was actually very disappointed by that. So let me just show you actually something. Let me just bring this up here. And I think in the very end, actually, from the trailer. Oh, by the way, I need to show you this later as well. I love the. Where are we actually? Where was here PlayStation? So there was just a very small part actually for PlayStation 5 Pro. I can't find it because it's not. I think it starts here. Yeah. So this literally the end from the last trailer is Ghost of Tsushima 2 or Ghost of Yotai. But that's all actually about PlayStation 5. They just jumped through a couple of games what we already have seen. Nothing new. Not a really comparison between, let's say, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro. So very disappointing actually in this case. What do you think?
It's a bit hard to hear you when the video's playing.
Oh, okay. Is it too loud, the video, or?
It's just a bit. The video's a little bit loud. It's hard to hear both of you talking at the same time. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, it's actually, this is what was showed for the state of play for the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it's actually the same what we have seen already in the presentation. All the games, just a very quick showcase. So there's no way that you can actually concentrate on something or compare something and something like that. It's just disappointing, to be honest. I mean, the pre-order of the PlayStation 5 Pro starts tomorrow. I don't know. It will be sold out, no worries, okay? But I was expecting more in this case. It's just, yeah. I turn off the sound, maybe.
Do you think the PS5 will be sold out? Like, I don't. If it was released in huge numbers, I personally don't think so. But I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it will be sold out. I'm pretty sure.
See, for me, the whole PS5 Pro thing, it's because I went through the PS4 Pro, PS4 generation, and at the end of the day, it's not a generational leap. So at the end of the day, if you've got a PS5, the difference you're going to get is just, I guess we kind of went through this argument, is just not worth the money. Like, I don't see PS5 being any slouch. It's a really powerful machine. So I think Sony did a bad job of managing expectations, where this state of play, if they're releasing a new console, it was in their best interest to get everyone hyped up. Oh, these are these PS5 enhanced games. In my opinion, I would have preferred PS6 and say, hey, these are the only games you could have got on the PS6. Then I'll upgrade if it's $1,200 or $1,400. But that's just
correct. Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming, to be honest, in my opinion. But I don't know if they don't have to show, or if they maybe don't have games to show. Maybe, I mean, they don't have new games. Let's say like this. And this is the same for the whole state of play today. We have seen a couple of remasters and whatever. And there was one game I like to show, actually, and I would like to get the impression from our viewers here. Let me just bring this up, because I downloaded all the trailers, of course, and of course we're going to watch Ghost of Tsushima 2 or Ghost of Utah.
Ghost of Utah, yeah.
Yeah, was it this one here? I think it was this one. Okay, let me bring this up here. And this looks really good.
How did it feel to learn the truth about the night sky?
Can you bring down the video volume just a touch, please?
It's already down completely.
Oh, okay. Just so it's easier for us to talk while we're watching it. So, am I to understand, is this just like a DLC add-on, or is this a completely new title?
Oh, no, sorry, looks like
this is different. Sorry, we're not watching.
That's a different. That's a different. That's a brand new game.
Okay.
So apparently, PlayStation 5 footage.
This is what gets me, is like, yeah, cool, the graphics look great, but is there any substance to the game? Is it going to attract me to this new franchise? And it just, I just see a lot of this same stuff. It looks no different to Wukong to me. Like, very pretty, looks great.
Yeah, I mean, what are we expecting? At some point, they're running out of ideas anyway. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But it does look cool. But everything was there already. You're right. There's nothing new. You know what I mean? Nothing new. Just a new name.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It looks great, but I don't see that being the next, flagship.
No, for sure not. No, it comes out on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC anyway. So it's not a first-party game. And there was, I think, no first-party game at all, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. There was not a single first-party game.
Really?
Which is... Yeah, here, Dylan, no first-party games. Ghost of Tsushima 2 was the only... Okay, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is a first-party game, but it will come to PC. It's coming to PC at the same time, or not? It was announced for PC on the same release date, or? Am I wrong? We're going to watch the trailer anyway in a second. And... yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. They don't have any ideas anymore. Or what's going on?
Yeah, I saw that Horizon Dawn remaster, and I thought, oh, okay. What was the Lego? There was a Lego title in there as well.
Yeah, Lego is interesting, but it's about Horizon as well.
Yeah,
we can maybe watch this in the background first. Oh my god, this bloody sound! I'm sorry for that. I just keep the sound off. So this, I love the graphic style. I just love this. And it's for sure 2-player or maybe more player co-op on the same screen, which is absolutely fun. It just looks amazing.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It reminds me of the Star Wars saga that came out, the Lego version.
Yeah.
Like, it looked absolutely beautiful on an OLED TV on next-gen consoles, but there wasn't much more to that. It looked great, but again, my issue is there's no substance in these games. There's nothing very attractive to me that I'm like, okay, this is the next game I'm going to be playing for weeks or months potentially. So nothing personally I'm excited. I don't want to sound all negative, but me personally, I was really disappointed.
I mean, it's just another Lego game, with a different story. It's we have seen this many times. There's no difference, you know what I mean? But I like those type of games, say like this. Horizon Zero Dawn looks great. The HDR lighting brings so much depth to the game. I'm happy that they do that. I mean, I hope that they actually rework HDR in the game, because HDR in Horizon Zero Dawn was not on a fantastic level, I would say, compared to Forbidden West. But yeah, on the other hand, it's again just a remaster. Not sure if I should be happy about that. Yeah. No. I mean, Aaron is right. I was hoping for Horizon 3, not Horizon Remastered. But that's what they're doing, because they know they're selling the games anyway. So why would they put so much effort actually in making something new? And I'm very sure they're working on the part 3 already, but they try to milk the cow.
Yeah. What is the situation these days? I just can't believe how many remasters there are coming out of all these classic games. Like, I don't see any investment into new IPs or anything like that, and they just like not even just PlayStation, Xbox remasters everywhere.
I mean,
it's not exciting. Like, okay, if it's a great game that you loved and you played the hell out of, you'll get the remaster, you'll play it for a week or two because it's the same content, and then okay, cool, you got my money, now I'm unhappy.
I mean, they tried a new IP or whatever with Concord, and they failed like crazy. So maybe they're just thinking, I don't know. Really, we shouldn't laugh about this, but this is just crazy. This is absolutely wow. Anyway.
Well, just it's that, and also the price of games are going up. I went to buy the Star Wars Outlaws, $109.95, $110 on the Xbox store. I'm assuming it's the same price on the PlayStation store. And I'm like, so the quality of the games are coming down. I remember when games were coming out, they were like, I don't know, $80, $90 for a AAA game. So I don't know if this is just the trend of things to come, but games are getting more expensive, and I think the satisfaction is pretty consistent among most people online. And you look anywhere and you hear most people complaining there's no games, there's nothing
new, let's say like this, and nothing exciting anymore, because we have seen already everything, and this is what I think I asked this in the last stream as well. Are we just getting too old for this, or are the games getting bad? You know what I mean? So maybe because we have seen it's the same with movies, at some point there's nothing really exciting anymore.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. So what was this? My highlight was for sure the Lunar Remastered collection.
What was that?
What was Lunar Remastered? Just help me out. What was this?
I'm looking for it now.
What was Lunar Remastered?
Oh, it was one of those 2D side scrollers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I laughed when I saw that. I don't know, man. Sony has just announced a PS5 Pro, and people are getting ready to purchase this console, and they want to see some ball-busting breakthrough graphics that is just going to kind of show the power of this console. And they're doing remasters and 2D side scrollers. I don't know. Call me a cranky old dude, but that's a joke.
Here we have another remaster. And don't get me wrong, I actually I grew up with this game. You know what I mean? So this was a game I played like crazy, but again, it's a remaster. And where's our Bloodborne? This was what was this? This was PlayStation 1 area or PlayStation 2.
Oh wow. Okay.
Was it PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2? Can't remember.
Again, it's just
I think it was 1. Yeah. So they're great games, no doubt about that. But hey, give me part number 3, not Legacy of Kain or Legacy of Soul Reaper, or whatever. Give me the next part. You know what I mean? Work on something new from the same IP, from the same franchise. That's fine, but not always the same. I don't get it. Really, I don't get it. And what can they do? Have you seen the improvement? Is not like day and night. You know what I mean? It's just.
Well, look, it's kind of like the Halo Master Chief Collection. As much as I loved playing all those games again, once you've played them if you played them when they first came out, you probably played the crap out of those games because there was no online, there was nothing like that. So, there's only so much you can enjoy with these remasters.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So let me try find another one. There was this one. Hell is Us. Hell is Us actually was really interesting. So captured on PlayStation 5, mix of gameplay and in-game cinematics.
Okay.
Let me get a little bit sound here.
Perfect.
Told us to hide when they came to our house. Then they took him away. Mother said I couldn't play outside anymore. Everyone had fled. She said the country was sick. But we would be okay.
So what was Midnight Walk? So again, I didn't watch the whole entire stream so far. Help me out here.
We were both wrong. They lived inside our heads.
Again,
This
where's
reminded me. Yeah.
is this game? Are we seeing gameplay, or here we go? This looks like
That's-
some gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the games are coming for PC and Xbox. Sony was just faster than Xbox to announce them.
Interesting. So this is coming on Xbox, and this is one of their one of their
They don't-
10 games.
They again,
just
they just
shows-
have Ghost of Tsushima to show
Yeah,
actually.
that just shows to me the lack of content they have in the pipeline.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, this looks fine, but again, yeah, you're right. It's not another first party game. It's not exclusive PlayStation 5.
See that
Midnight Walk was
that-
near the start. Yeah.
that looks cool, but I don't seeing it as some sort of franchise that's going to continue for the next 10 years. I haven't seen anything like because I'm more of an Xbox guy, but what are the big Sony franchises? Like I know Spider-Man's their big one. What other ones? can you
Ratchet and
think-
Clank, probably. God of War.
See, again,
Uncharted.
that's right. Uncharted. Is it The Last of Us? Haven't there been a few of them? There's been a remaster as well.
There was but we have Last of Us, we have enough remaster and stuff like that. So don't do this,
But
So we
what
have
I'm
actually-
saying is we have a few of these flagship games, but I don't see any of these new games that have the potential to be any of those big titles that'll carry on for many years and many different releases and versions.
No, so I would love to have, and I'm not joking. I'm buying just a console for a new Jack and Dexter. I'm buying a new console for so I wouldn't say for Jack and Dexter Remastered, but even Jack and Dexter Remastered, the first part. Yeah, I love the first part. Was such a great game. But I don't know why they're not doing something like that. Is this the Midnight Run? Okay, let's have a look here. Team Asobi is still. Come on, go. Yeah, we know. We watched it.
There's a comment I'm just going to highlight quickly. So, never buy Ubisoft games near launch. They always go and say a couple of months after release. Yeah, I know that, but I should have learned my lesson from the last time. But to be honest, I actually didn't mind Star Wars Outlaws. I don't want to get off topic, but I'm actually enjoying it at the moment. So, what's this game we're looking at here?
I don't know if this is Midnight Walk.
Right. See, when I see this, it's like, man, the Pro is
PlayStation
just
VR,
around the corner, and this to me doesn't scream next, or level up in graphics performance. This isn't going to show
No.
me anything that's going to blow my mind. Why this is not enticing me to go and purchase a PS5 Pro.
No. There's to be very honest, if I wouldn't, no, I said that's wrong. I don't need this for my channel, but I like to have it for my channel, of course. I would not buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. There's no point. Just as a gamer, there's no point right now. Full stop. There's no point. But it will be sold out anyway. No, that's how it is. I would like to have the anniversary edition, actually. Even it's just a different skin, actually, just a color.
That's another thing I'll bring up. I'm
nice.
really unhappy about with PlayStation is, as I said, I'm an Xbox guy, so I've gone to the. Have you heard of the Xbox Design Studio?
Yeah. You can
So you
get your controller. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go online and you can create your own controller from scratch, get your tag written on it, do all these different things. And it's like Sony brings out a couple of standard, red, green, blue colors. And it's like their big thing is some shiny chrome looking controllers. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
man, I feel like because Sony is just so far ahead of Microsoft, I feel like they're not really trying. Like Microsoft is doing everything they can and they're getting nowhere, but I appreciate that. But I just feel like it's very underwhelming, and as I said, these controllers and consoles, okay, cool, it's a shell, big deal. Like there'll be counterfeit ones on Amazon within a week and you can just buy them and swap them out for half the price.
Okay, so interesting. So tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK time is the Xbox show tomorrow.
Did not know
How's
that.
the Xbox show called? State of the Play as well? I don't know. I really don't know. So
Yeah, I can't
11 a.m. United Kingdom is 7 p.m. here in Adelaide. Okay, cool. So, but you're right. In regards of games and stuff like that, I mean, look, both PlayStation and Xbox are not really good at the moment with games, in my opinion, to be very honest. Xbox even worse, because now they're getting, or it looks like they're getting all their games on the PlayStation 5 as well. So that's how it looks like. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but is there any game now announced apart from Fable which doesn't come to PlayStation? Is Fable also now announced for PlayStation? No, Fable is the first party.
I can't say about that. I've heard rumors that Halo might end up on PlayStation. I would be so annoyed if that happens. And I think a lot of people would because, I'm an Xbox advocate. But what's the other one? Indiana Jones. Now they've decided that's coming out on the PlayStation. So, it's getting more and more difficult to kind of justify brand loyalty, in my opinion. So, it's a bit strange. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the games that are coming out, but it just seems like PlayStation seems to be getting the better deal right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's more games coming out on PlayStation than there is on Xbox.
I'm just hang on. So why can't I here? So I mean, he's not. Look, I understand this that you don't want to get a PlayStation 5 Pro because we're talking here in Australia $1,200. That's not with the
14 if you want the stand and the drive.
Yes, so that's without anything. Okay, that's without. I mean, to be honest, you don't need the stand because it will stay without stand. If it's made like the old PlayStation 5, you don't need the stand. But that's $1,200. I mean, again, it's if I like to more or less double my frames on this PC, I would also need to pay probably $1,500 or whatsoever. To get a better graphic card. So it's more or less the same. You're upgrading your current system to the next level. So if you need that, that's a different story.
Would you call it the next level?
No, it's an upgrade. It's not the next level because PlayStation 6 will be the next level, hopefully.
Yeah, that's I guess that's you kind of articulated that well. For me, I don't feel it's a significant enough upgrade. I feel like there was a bigger upgrade between the 4 and the 4 Pro. In my opinion, but see, this is the trick Sony's doing, is because they charge more for digital than physical games now. So for me, that first of all, that whole paradigm doesn't make sense. But you see what they're doing because they're trying to push you to digital now. So it costs more to get a drive, but you end up saving money when you purchase games physically. See what I mean? But if you don't get the drive, you save money up front, but then they sting you on the back end for the rest of the console's life by charging you extra for games.
I know. It's just, it's I don't know what to say. I like to show you this. So let's just jump to, because people sometimes they don't believe us. Where can I just let me go back to here? Because they don't believe us. So the games actually here, when we go into, it doesn't matter. Let's go to PlayStation games.
Are you trying to share your screen?
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, of course.
Nope.
No, I'm sharing my screen. So let's go here to PlayStation 5 Outlaws. That's the limited edition, actually. So is there also a standard edition?
Yeah.
Anyway, go here for Yeah,
On
Final Fantasy.
at Target, it's $79. Outlaws, the
Okay,
physical copy, so it's seventy
but
nine
let's have a
dollars.
look. And let's just go here. Where is Final Fantasy Rebirth? Oh, okay. So right now, actually, is this the same? 74. Let me share this one here, because this is actually interesting. Oh, I can't share two screens. That's really interesting. Here, $77 right now. They have right now 33% off. So usually the same game, just digital, is $115. $115 for digital only. And people still, I mean, don't get me wrong, we have Steam and whatsoever, all digital since ages, but Steam has normal prices, in my opinion. They're not charging on top. That's my, or maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, Aaron, yeah, go ahead.
I agree. That's my whole point. Is you pay more for a drive, but you do save money. But the problem is then you lose on the convenience. Like changing discs sucks. You know, that's the problem when you play multiple games. Every time you want to play, it's so easy when it's digital. You just press any game and it will load. So they are certainly, I think everyone is certainly pushing us in a certain direction because they can make a lot more money from us. But yeah. It doesn't make sense. You think an actual physical thing where they had to press a disc, print the artwork, you know, put it in a box, ship it to a store. How is that cheaper than a click download?
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. To answer your question, Aaron, I have nothing to say about VR games. I haven't tried at all VR games. You know what I mean? So I was going to buy the PlayStation VR set at some point, but then $1,000 or something like that was just too expensive. And I'm not sure if it's actually, I don't know. I don't think it's a good, I don't think the technology right now is good enough, actually, in my opinion. But maybe because I haven't experienced it in live or real. I just hear actually what people telling me. So, but maybe I'm wrong on this. But you know, so we have the Xbox Tokyo Game Show 2024 tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is Tokyo Game Show starts tomorrow.
Nice.
Here, £825 UK pounds with everything PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm not sure what this means, to be honest, because I'm here in Australia. But it sounds like a lot of money.
I'm just looking that up there. What was it, pounds?
I'm waiting for the PlayStation 6 and maybe the next Xbox. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, again, not sure about the next Xbox. Really,
how much did you say? 825.
825. Yes.
That is 1,600 Australian dollars.
Yeah. Okay. It's always hard to compare, you know. But probably it's a lot of money as well for the UK. You know?
Of course.
That's how it is. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward maybe for the Xbox showcase tomorrow. Maybe we see something new for the Xbox. Hopefully, because again, PlayStation 5 showcase was a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. The same as for the PlayStation 5 Pro showcase or announcement back then. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. You have to remember that Microsoft is a software company first. So they were always a software company. So I just feel like maybe they're starting to pivot because they gave Xbox a real good chance, and it just, you know, they were almost 50-50 with PlayStation in the, what was it, the PS3 360 days.
Yeah.
And then I think they had their opportunity, and then with Xbox One, they just absolutely dropped the ball in the most horrible way. But I feel like they've tried everything now. You know, they've pushed into Game Pass. I think that's their thing, that everyone's pushing for a subscription these days. It's kind of the thing everyone's trying to do. I would not be surprised if there is a Xbox cloud streaming on the Nintendo Switch too.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means essentially like you could get the entire Xbox catalog streamed on the Nintendo Switch too. I think that's where they're going. I certainly hope not, as an Xbox guy, because I'm a purist. I want to stay on Xbox. I want games to be exclusive on Xbox. You know, you kind of support your brand, but Yeah, who knows? Like, it might end up being on PlayStation 2 at some point. Like, there's just, you think about it, there's so many, what is it,
Yeah.
4-to-1 consoles, 4 PlayStations to 1 Xbox. Think about the
Yeah.
opportunities they have if they can start getting four, what was it, 400 times more exposure or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say is, like, there's so many more gamers they could
Yeah.
sell their games to.
So what do we know actually about Nintendo Switch 2 so far? Is there any news? When can we buy it?
So I
That's the
saw,
question.
yeah. Well, I was actually one of the things I was going to bring up is I saw some leaks. It was actually on Digital Foundry. I saw it somewhere else first, but Digital Foundry has now covered it. They've made a short video about it on YouTube, and it appears to show the circuit, the main board, the new Joy-Cons, just a few
Yeah.
bits and pieces that the schematics of the device. It looks like it's either been finalized or it's in production or it's pretty damn close. For me, I'm going to put my Switch OLED up for sale this week. Do you play Switch at all by any chance?
No.
Oh, you don't? Do you have one?
Yeah, here.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just went to Japan, so I had a month with it where every night I was putting in a few hours, and I still really enjoy my Switch, so I'm pretty excited for the Switch too. Yeah, so there's been some leaks. Is that something you're interested in, or you're not interested in the Switch 2?
I mean, I'm getting the Switch 2 for sure because I'm interested in new tech anyway, you know.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm not playing Switch games is the same. I'm not playing PC or PlayStation 5 or Xbox at the moment. I just don't have time for this, you know. So,
Yeah.
but without a doubt, Nintendo is offering one of the best games, you know, full stop. That's my opinion. You know, if you like to have gameplay, if you like to have fun for many, many hours, then get a Switch. And that's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of the Mario franchise and all that stuff. So for me, it's the only place you can get it. And I would dare say, if they did not have that franchise, Nintendo may not be here today. But they just have such a strong foothold and such a strong connection with those characters. They just seem to print gold with that. I haven't really seen a Mario-based game flop. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No. You're right. So on tomorrow, the new Zelda is going to be released anyway, 26.
Yes, I heard it's already
tomorrow.
leaked as well. I just sent you a link. If you want to check that out, you might want to bring that up on screen regarding the Nintendo Switch leak.
Okay, let me check. Yeah, let's just share this here. So I'm not quite sure. So do we know anything about OLED display, hopefully, and stuff like that? Let me make this full screen here. Renders in December. Okay, so this is what we already have seen.
Yeah.
And here, definitely, yeah. Okay, we have Joy-Con. I can't read that, but anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they're saying, or the rumors are that the Nintendo Switch 2 would be around PlayStation 4 power, something like that. Not PlayStation 4 Pro, so the normal standard PlayStation 4, which would be already crazy good in my opinion for a handheld. To be very honest, in my opinion,
absolutely.
But no one knows actually anything at the moment. Well, someone knows for sure.
Well, all I can say is I think most people on the internet know that Nintendo are notorious for going after people who leak their games, copyright strikes, that kind of thing. So whoever managed to leak those screenshots or those images, if they are real, I would not be sleeping very well.
Yeah. Just to answer this, your gaming tech will you be doing HDR settings for Planet Coaster 2 comes out November 6th. It's not on my list, to be very honest. Not on my list. And I like to be honest with you. Let's say if I'm getting a key for this game, which is unlikely because I don't even know who is the developer for this one. But if I would get a key, then maybe I can do it. But I'm not spending $70, $80 on a game. And then I like to be honest with you guys, and you get just 500, 1,000 views for this. It doesn't work. And I would spend hours on making a video, to be very honest. I know, I'm sorry, that's not the answer you like to hear. And are you sure there's actually HDR in this game? That's the next big question. Because it doesn't, you know, even Wukong doesn't have HDR. So why does Planet Coaster 2 has HDR? Just asking.
Yeah. Actually, that would be interesting to see if the Nintendo Switch 2 would be capable of displaying HDR, or if it would just consume too much power.
Oh yeah, that's probably the main reason. So it's an OLED screen. So, and depends what OLED screen it is, of course. But if it is, so any mobile phone nowadays has really good HDR capabilities, or let's say the mid-range to the high-range mobile phones. And why wouldn't be the OLED screen from the Switch 2? I'm assuming it's probably maybe the same as in the Switch 1. I don't know if this changing size at all.
Yeah,
Not sure.
Perhaps maybe if the game's docked, then it could display it on the TV. That might be a way around it.
That's because in as far as I understand, and I proved this already, so HDR is not really using any performance. You know what I mean? So it's not performance like ray tracing or something like that.
Oh,
so
I meant power.
It's possible. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, it could consume more battery power in mobile mode. That's all.
Absolutely, because the screen brightness will be higher.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But this is, of course, then a good decision not to have HDR on board, probably. Coaster had HDR. See, this is really interesting. You know, we have games where they're really not. I mean, I'm not saying the Planet Coaster is not a popular game. I know those games and many people playing this. But why does a game like that has HDR and Wukong doesn't? You know, this is just
true.
I don't get this. Really, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Play Nice. He just said Steam Deck OLED has great HDR. So
yeah.
I haven't had hands-on with that. Have you?
No. Because I was actually seriously going to buy a Steam Deck, but it's again just too much money for doing 1, 2, 3 videos. To be very honest, it's. That's how it is. I would love to see the OLED screen in action, but I'm waiting for the Steam 2, probably. The Steam Deck 2.
So what is the main... You have to excuse my ignorance. I've actually never looked into it. I'm very aware of it, but what is the main benefit of it? You get the Steam ecosystem, so you get all the PC games, but... No? Or am I...
Not. So in general, yes, you get all the games what you have on the Steam, but it depends if actually then Steam optimized for the hardware. So most of the games, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the games running around 30 FPS, maybe 40 FPS, because the hardware is not really that great. Okay, it's more like a better Nintendo Switch, let's say like this. And there is better hardware like the Asus. What is the Asus handheld called? For I think more or less the same money price-wise, and it's offering better hardware. So but the Steam Deck is older. We need to be fair here, okay? So it's a great idea, but in regard of performance, not really that great, to be honest.
That brings up an interesting point, because when you look at the Switch has been insanely popular. Like that thing, I can't even. Has it outsold the PS5? I'd imagine it probably has.
Every day, probably.
Yeah.
No worries.
And that just goes to show you it's not about how much performance the device has. Software sells consoles.
Of course.
That's why I just don't understand like why we're in this situation today. We look at the Switch, it's like anemically underpowered compared to a PlayStation or a current Xbox, yet it's outselling them all just because they're making killer software. They're making games that are attracting people. As I said, they've got those flagship titles like all the Mario franchise type games. And I'm a sucker, man. Like I'm an older guy now, man. I still go out and buy those games when they first launch, and I sit there and I play it on my big TV and I have an absolute blast. And then I go and buy a AAA game on, our current gen consoles, and within a day I'm already like, this sucks. So it's very interesting the way things are.
So Switch total sales worldwide is almost 60 million, and PlayStation 5 55 million.
Wow.
So it's both really, crazy good. 60 million consoles or handhelds sold, that's wow. And then we're getting remasters.
Well, yeah, and you also think about how much money Nintendo's making. Like they can't. How long has the console been out for? 6, 7 years now? 8 years? The Switch since the first iteration.
Probably, yeah.
Imagine the like. I'm assuming they've had some sort of a die shrink. Like chips and things get cheaper to produce in the lifetime of the console. That's generally,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's why consoles generally
Yeah.
sell them at a loss at the beginning and make their money back when they do a die shrink or something like that. But yeah, it's just it blows my mind how Nintendo Switch, this little dinky thing that plays 2D games, is smashing the high performing consoles. It just shows you software is absolutely everything.
No, and it's affordable. You know what I mean? That's how it is. And you can play it straight out of the box. You don't need to have a TV monitor whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier. So, I mean, look, because I'm a little bit nerdy and I know this stuff. So that's why when my little one asked for replacement for his PlayStation 4 because it broke down, I bought him an Xbox Series S. Because I said we're not buying PlayStation 4 again, and PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X is way too expensive. And I know he doesn't like Nintendo games, but usually the people I know, my friends or whatever, most of them, their kids, they have either a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or in most of the cases, Nintendo Switch.
Or both.
Yeah, or everything.
Yeah.
My kids are lucky.
Yeah, a lot of kids are these days. So AP said, I'd prefer to play the highest quality fidelity games on a large TV and not gimped on a handheld power. And Nintendo does it best. It doesn't need power. It's all about their games. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've been saying. It's like they don't have the most powerful console, but what I like about them is they're not trying to be the most powerful console. I feel like I feel like now that I'm talking about it, that's helping me articulate my frustration with the PS5 Pro, is because it is trying to be, and now is the official most powerful console on the market. Yet the Nintendo Switch is killing it. Their games are so much better. It just once again tells me that software is everything. Like, and I love the fact you can take your Switch with you and the games will perform almost identically as to when they're docked. So yeah, great comment.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. And that's why Nintendo Switch 2 will be sold out within 10 seconds, probably. There's no question asked. Because the people are, and it's not just that kiddies, playing, because this is what you play your kiddie console. No. Many adults actually, including myself, getting a Nintendo Switch 2 because of the games. And I'm looking forward, actually. I hope really we have some sort of backwards compatibility, like let's say like 60 FPS modes then suddenly, all the Zelda games now running with better resolution and 60 FPS. This would be fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward for that.
I think they would have to do backwards compatibility. They couldn't release the Switch 2 without backwards compatibility. There's just too many people that have one.
Yeah. And the other thing is Japan is very high in terms of physical copies. So they're not like not that many people actually buying digital copies. So Nintendo would have a big problem if they're just announcing a digital only console. Not just because of people that don't like this, but also all the other games, or people that have hundreds of games, in physical form. They want to play those games still. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about next PlayStation 6 probably has no disk drive anymore. I'm pretty sure about that, which is a big problem.
Big problem.
The problem is we are the minority who cares about HDR. I guess 80% of all gamers don't even know what HDR is. I agree. The most of they just use cheap TVs or monitors. Yes, that's actually a good topic now. Cheap TVs and monitors, huh?
Yeah, it's a great segue.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the next thing we like to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
Cheap TVs and monitors, because he's absolutely right. Just because we're always talking about G4, S95D, and all the high-end $5,000, $6,000 TVs, we really just a minority. Most of the people, they're not as lucky as we are and can afford this stuff. And that's fine. No, I mean, we need to focus a little bit more on mid-range TVs and see how they're actually performing. And is it actually, so this is really a question I like to answer at some point. Maybe we should do a video about this. But how is, mid-range TVs, how they're performing against, let's say, really a S95D or a G4? Is it really worth to pay 3-4 times more money?
Yes, that's something we were going to discuss tonight anyway. So I'm guessing this is the right time to segue across. Yep. So I am in the process of creating a video, and Marcus and I will be collaborating on it, where we are going to buy a bunch of mid-range TVs, and we're going to bring them back to my studio. We're going to unbox them and kind of just go through a bit of a I guess what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to have a set checklist of things that we're going to compare them against, from build quality, operating system, sound, and then obviously get into the panel technology. What type of panel technology? Is it a full array local dimming, mini LED, and kind of go through our own testing philosophy that we're going to come up with. And then when we kind of decide a winner, then we're going to go and take that TV, which will probably be a 900-ish Australian dollar TV, and we're going to put it side by side with the $9,000 G4 TV. So I'm thinking $900 versus $9,000 TV, just to see what is the difference. Like, are you really getting your value for money for that kind of price point? I think it's really important to show, because I was actually saying to Marcus just before we started the stream, I've got this cheap 86-inch edge lit TV here, nothing special, and yeah, the black level is absolutely garbage. But
look at my OLED.
Yeah, compared to your OLED. But as I said, I'm in my shed. This is just where the boys and I hang out. I just wanted the biggest, cheapest TV, so we could watch the
absolutely. And that's the thing. So now the question is really, and this would be a really interesting video. You should really look forward to this. What are you getting for your money? Are you really need to get the high end TV to have the best experience? Big question mark. I would actually say already no, because at some point it's very hard to actually, what is the right word in English? Bloody hell, I can't. But to satisfy, or to say the price is okay. I'm paying $1,000 more just to have 1% better peak brightness or whatsoever. You know what I mean? That's And here play nice games. Honestly, TCL and Hisense are the best in this category.
I would agree. So, in the cheap to mid-range TV, I would agree.
Yeah, and that's probably the TVs what we're trying to get. Not sure about at this very moment. Justify the price. Yeah, he is absolutely right. I forgot about justify is the right word. Yeah, and that's the question. You know what I mean? That's the question, because I'm not sure.
I think that's the goal of the video we will create in the future, is to kind of justify the price, or rather not justify the price, but help each individual person decide if it's worth it to them. For someone who doesn't play games, who's just a basic streamer, is not super into TV, then no. But are you a gamer? Do you have the latest? Do you have a PS5 Pro? Then I think it's silly if you don't have the TV to come with it. Obviously, money's a big issue. Like, we understand that. We all have to buy our own TVs, and it sucks because it costs a lot of money. But that's kind of what I wanted to do. Was I was looking at getting like a mid-range Hisense, a mid-range TCL, and maybe another one, a no-name brand. I don't know. There's some F Falcons out there. Other stores have JVCs. We can figure it out. But I think it's important to show what you get for your money. Like, most of the lower end TCL and Hisense TVs I was researching today actually are just direct lit panels, so they don't have full array local dimming. And the problem is
very bad.
They advertise HDR as a flagship feature on those TVs, and in my opinion, HDR isn't possible with edge lit or backlit panel. You have to have full array local dimming as an absolute minimum, and then depending on your panel type and then the native contrast ratio of that particular panel, that also adds another element to it. But I guess the point of the video is we're going to try and break some of the myths and show people hey, this is what you get for this much money, and this is what you get for the next stage up, and then
Yeah.
we can
I
put it
mean,
against the big boy.
yeah, I mean, look, HDR is, of course, would be a big topic in this video, but also we are going to focus on SDR because we know already that in regard of HDR, they will see no land against the G4. It's very clear. And it's probably a little bit unfair as well, because now we're really talking about a flagship model versus affordable TVs, and it's not fair at some point. But in regards of SDR, just to have an idea, maybe, and Adam is right, if you plan to buy actually a PlayStation 5 Pro and you don't know what TV you like to get now, and you're just deciding for a $400, $500 TV, then you're doing something wrong, to be very honest, because you'll not see the full potential of the PlayStation 5 Pro. I guarantee you this. And that's what many people doing wrong. It's not just with TVs, it's also with sound. I have seen so many people, friends of mine, they investing thousands of dollars or euros actually back then in Germany, or Deutsche Mark, in sound. And they're spending, let's say, 5,000 euros on a AV receiver and then $500 on a speaker. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. You spend $5,000 on the speakers and you get a cheap AV receiver. But the reason is, first of all, it will every year you get new stuff or whatever, new features. You know what I mean? So you can upgrade every year to something new. And it is, in my opinion, I compared so many, from Denon to Yamaha, whatever. It's so hard to hear actually a difference, to be very honest, between 500 AV. It's just, but in regards of TVs, when we now talk about proper experience, direct lit or edge lit LCD TVs. So LCD already is, in my opinion, not as good as OLED. You can have the high-end LCD against our mid-range OLED. The mid-range OLED will outperform the high-end LCD, in my opinion.
All day.
Yeah, so that's how it is. You know what I mean? So, and even probably the cheapest OLED TV, because of the panel technology, will outplay the LCD. That's how it is, unfortunately. But we have to make sure that we justify the price. At some point, justifying the price, but also keep in mind, or we have to keep in mind, again, if you like to upgrade, or if you're going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro for the first time, then I would not recommend to you that you just spend $1,000 on the TV. I would not recommend this. Not Australian prices, of course.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. Just that comment you removed. So get the higher end TCL or Hisense that are still affordable and not as expensive as other brands, but actually real HDR for under $1,000. He said, play nice game. Sorry, I just jumped back on to that comment.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So the goal was to keep the budget for each TV at $1,000 or less. So we'll probably have to go down in the panel size. But what I'm noticing is I was hoping to get 50-inch, 350-inch TVs. But I'm noticing, at least with Hisense, once you go below 55, they remove a lot of the bells and whistles. So from the 55-inch, you might get VRR and a few other things. So Marcus and I will have to kind of shortlist a few TVs, and that's something we're going to do. But touching on the OLED thing, like for me, before I purchased my first OLED, I imagine I had the same reaction to most other consumers. Is you walk into a store and you see a bunch of, say, 65-inch TVs side by side, and you see one that's $800, and then you see one that's maybe $3,500, $4,000, and you're thinking, well, what the hell? Like, why would I buy that TV? I don't care if it looks a little bit better. But they don't realize it's one of those things. Once you get OLED, you just realize, like, there is nothing better. That you just can't beat it, not at this stage in time. So I understand the whole pricing thing, because when you walk in and you see those price discrepancies, you think, well, why would I do that? And quite often, a lot of my friends have said, oh man, you spent X amount of dollars on an 83-inch G4. Like, that's silly. I got my TV for $700 on special. And it's like, well, you don't really know what you're missing. So I guess, again, reiterating, a part of the video that Marcus and I will do when we get these three TVs, put them side by side, we're going to try and really help showcase and display that what you get, just to try and really what's the word I'm looking for, Mark? It's like articulate and show people on
Yeah.
camera, like you can get a decent panel, but it's up to you to decide if you want to go up to an OLED like a G4 or a C4 or something like that and spend that extra money. So I feel like it's going to be really interesting. I'm keen to see you take some measurements on these TVs and see what kind of performance they're getting. So yeah, I'm really excited. Sorry, you go to the next comment.
We have this one here. Hey, Christy, how are you? Hello, boys. When the budget is limited, it's sometimes a difficult choice. Yeah, more inches or better quality TV with more features. Yeah, more. So many people are always saying, go for the higher TV, go for the bigger TV. But if the bigger TV is worse in picture quality, of course, then no point to do that. I know it's a difficult choice. If you have a budget, then yeah, that's why we're trying to do this video, to find out, is it actually worse to buy a mid-range TV, or should you maybe just wait half a year longer to save and get something better? Because you need to consider something. If you buy cheap or wrong, you pay twice. Okay, so that's what you need to consider.
It's also good to demonstrate exactly what the differences are. As I said, a lot of these TVs we were looking at originally, they're all edge lit or backlit, but they all have HDR this, all these Dolby Vision brandings on them. And I'm like, man, that should be, I think that's a very fraudulent practice. I think that's misleading customers.
Yeah. The question is, so that the HDR certification, I think it's really just made how bright the picture can get. I think that's the thing. You know what I mean? There's nothing else taken into consideration.
Yeah, that's the certification. But what I'm trying to get at is that,
I mean,
just because the TV can show a picture when you send it a HDR signal to them, that's like, okay, this TV has HDR, when we all know that's not real HDR. It'll probably look better in SDR.
Correct, yeah. Now that's what I'm trying to say. So the HDR badge or whatever you want to call this, it's not worth anything, because we have HDR 400 certified monitors. HDR 400, really? Seriously? I mean, right now, so Sony or Xbox and PlayStation 5 is actually not mastering, but the output brightness from the PlayStation and Xbox is 250 nits for SDR. So they're going for 250 nits already for SDR. So what is 400 nits for HDR? Nothing. It's BS. Sorry.
Well, sorry, just one more thing. I'll jump in. It's also now how brands have muddied the HDMI specifications water, so to speak, because I think now the HDMI forum has changed what HDMI level. So they've basically changed HDMI 2.0 to 2.1. I don't know if you've seen that. So they confuse. So a lot of these TVs now, particularly the high sensors in Australia I'm looking at, they have partial HDMI 2.1 support, but they put 2.1 all over the box because the spec has actually changed, kind of like USB. I'm not sure if you know how USB standards and numbers have all changed. It's absolutely ridiculous. So now HDMI 2 TVs can actually put 2.0 on the box. So a lot of these high sensors will have a 60 hertz refresh rate on the panel, but they might support auto low latency mode and VRR. So now they slap 2.1 on the box, where 2.1 to me, and I'm assuming most people, means 4K 120, that kind of spec. So something we're going to really get into and point out on the video, which I think is going to be really eye-opening and interesting.
There's a lot of misleading stuff, because because you have HDMI 2.1 doesn't mean that your panel can do 120 hertz. Just the HDMI input is able to receive or process this, but the panel can be a 60 hertz panel. Absolutely correct. So this is always misleading, but you need to there are brands. I mean, I'm not even sure. So did PlayStation 5 Pro now remove the 8K 120 or 8K logo from the box when they're selling it? You know what I mean? So that's misleading people. They're trying all the stuff to get people, of course, to buy their TVs. And there was a comment before, most people don't know what HDMI is. You know, they're switching on this mode and then just thinking, oh my, this is not good, I don't like it. And that's those the people what I'm having then on my channel saying, oh, HDR is crap. Yeah, okay, but it's not. It's your TV. Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah, let's go to Juggernaut. False mid-range OLED. False mid-range OLED will not beat high-end mini LED. I don't know what a false mid-range. Of course, if you have a false mid-range OLED, which performs terrible, of course, a high-end LCD would look better. But if you have, let's say, and we're talking about, let's say the B4, you know, LG B4, you know, or C4, whatever. You know, this TV is not the high-end from LG. It will beat any high-end LCD, full stop.
Yeah.
Any. And they did Artings actually did a video about this as well. In terms of contrast, dynamic range, black level. It's just, that's technology is just better. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, when I have a video on my channel where when I got my 8K Neo QLED and my LG C1 back in 2021, my Neo QLED cost considerably more than my C1, almost double.
Yeah.
And I originally uploaded a video which did quite well, where I actually said I thought OLED owners were sleeping on 8K Neo QLED, and I actually really rated the 8K Neo QLED. Fast forward a few years, that QLED failed on me and has now been sent to the bin. With that put to the side, once I knew what I was looking at and once I actually had enough time to spend with the TVs and I wasn't just impressed by this insane brightness from the panel, you actually realize, you know, that's how sometimes TV brands get you. They just, especially these mini LEDs, they just are so bright. It's like, that's what you think is impressive, but it's really not. Yeah, when Juggernaut said OLED's overrated, I was the first person to say OLED was overrated, man. But once you get OLED, you just, you can't go back, man. It's just how it is.
No, it's so, this would be filling a complete topic, you know, a complete live stream on its own, you know, talking about SDR versus HDR on a proper TV or a proper monitor. And there's still people out there, you know, trying to convince me that SDR is just brighter than HDR. It can't be, even from a technical point of view, it can't be brighter. SDR can never be brighter than HDR, but I know what they're talking about because they're cranking up their LCD TV, you know, to brightness 100 in the SDR mode, and then of course you have 400 nits full wide screen. Of course, it's brighter when you play whatever game than HDR or HDR mode at this very moment. But the specular highlights are, we're talking about 1000 nits, 1500 nits, you know, so. The problem, what they always confusing or mistaken probably is the average picture brightness on they're comparing the average picture brightness from SDR versus HDR. And if you set up your TV in the wrong way, then SDR is always brighter, full stop. If you calibrate this to the industry standard, which is 200 nits at the moment, 203 nits or whatever, then there's no way that the average picture brightness from SDR is higher than HDR. It doesn't work like that. And here this one, Mr. Toter Arzt. Wie geht's denn? I want to have a LG G3 or G4 in 77-inch this or next year. Go for it. But you're not doing anything wrong. I personally, if money doesn't matter, I would go for the G4 then. But even the G3, top TV. And here we have AP. Personally, I always go fidelity over size. Just sit closer to the TV. If you can do that, I agree.
Yeah, I will chime in on that one because I have a 100-inch TV in my living room and I have a bunch of different OLEDs around my house. And it's crazy, man. Like, I will say that OLEDs are obviously better all day, but there's just something you can't beat about a huge panel, particularly if I'm watching sport or anything with a larger group of people. I always find, or even playing split screen co-op. I play a lot of 4-player co-op on my Switch on my 100-inch TV, and man, it's like, it's one of those things. Like, it's hard to say. It's like living with an OLED or an LED LCD TV. Most people don't get to pick all of them at once. You know, you just pick one, so you kind of become a cheerleader for that brand. But a lot of these things are obviously subjective and personal and just opinions. But I can tell you I honestly believe there's a place for everything, whether it's size or quality or whatever it may be. Because yeah, when you have them all, you realize there is a purpose and a place for each of them. But yeah, most people just have to pick one. So I guess if you are picking one, then yeah, OLED is very hard to go past.
Yeah. So Play Nice Games wrote, so many people say they don't like HDR, but that's cause they don't have real HDR. Absolutely. That's how it is, fortunately. But I have to admit, so I saw the MLA or the G3 the first time in the store. I never had it at home, but it was really impressive, the G3. G4, I also saw it in the store, not next to the G3, obviously, because already old TV. But G3 or G4, I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, of course, we have Sony as well. Don't get me wrong. They're also probably even slightly better, but you pay even more.
Sony tax.
Sony tax, yeah, that's what you have with PlayStation 5 Pro. So Mr. Toda Arts says, left guy, your TV is too high. That's you. You're the left guy.
Yeah, I'm left guy. Yeah, I'm in my shed. So this is like not where I live. This is my shed. It's actually separate from my house. But yeah, this is where all the boys and I come in. We have a drink. We smoke cigars. So it's kind of set upright. So when we kick back, it's intentional. If you see my other videos with my other TVs, I actually get a lot of comments that my TVs are too low. And believe it or not, I've actually had some pretty nasty comments. Like some people threaten me and say all kinds of horrible stuff, which I just find is mind-boggling. Some people are so passionate about their TVs, like particularly my 100-inch TV, because it's so tall. I had to mount it really low, and I actually had to stand in front of it. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'5", so when I stand in front of my TV, my shoulders are just up to the top of the TV. You know what I mean? So it's like the TV is quite low to the ground, but when you sit down, I personally try to get my eyes about 40% up from the bottom of the TV when I'm sitting comfortably. That's kind of my thing. So I'm just having a slight look up, but you know, each to their own. One thing I don't get is I watch a lot of American videos and they mount their TVs above like the fireplace, and they have to look up, and I'm thinking that's got to be the most uncomfortable position. But again, each to their own.
So Christy, let me okay, so Sony Fold LCD TV can do 1200 nits in SDR. It's kind of like outer HDR. Okay, first of all, impressive, but it's not like outer HDR. So let me explain why. So first of all, we're talking about SDR. The dynamic range in SDR is roughly around 200 nits. Okay, that's the dynamic range what you get out of SDR. Doesn't matter how much your TV can actually display. So that means all what you're doing is actually you're stretching the 200 nits in 1200 nits now, which overblows everything, which makes everything undersaturated most likely because the colors are not correct anymore. I mean, it's impressive, but it's not even near to what SDR should be output. I would recommend the maximum what I would recommend actually to calibrate your TV in SDR is 250 nits at the moment to match the PlayStation and Xbox output. That's my recommendation. Okay, but that's kind of impressive. 1200 nits. That's like a light you turn on a flashlight or whatever. Bloody hell, that's pretty. Have you guys tried AR glasses? I just got my first set and they are flipping amazing. No, never. I don't know. Does it work with my glasses? Can I just put it over those, or how does it work actually?
I'm assuming
no idea.
Something like the Apple headset, like the augmented reality headsets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you can, post what brand you purchased.
Yeah. Just post this. Sony X950 SDR brightness, really 5. Peak window. I'm not reading all of this. Windows 10. Yeah, that's impressive numbers, but again, it's just SDR. It's not comparable when you do then the same thing on an HDR screen with the same numbers. Believe me, It's not the same because we're talking about dynamic range. We're not just talking about pure numbers. You need the content for this. And SDR is not made for over 200 nits. That's how it is.
Why is Christy bringing up SDR? What's the purpose of this comment?
Oh, not just because of how bright it can get the TVs,
Right.
which is impressive. Don't get me wrong, but again, in regards of I never seen, and that's the thing. So if you have a proper HDR implementation in movies or games, not a single time I would go back to SDR, just because the average picture brightness is brighter, which it will be full stop. It will be the average picture brightness will be brighter if you turn or if you just crank up your SDR brightness, but that's not how it should be.
Yeah,
but if you like it, don't get me wrong. If you like it, go for it. That's.
Well, that's what impressed me about my 8K Neo QLED, the QN900A. I purchased that on the first year, and the first thing that impressed me was just not just HDR brightness, but SDR brightness. And I thought, oh wow, this is like what I'm expecting. But over time, if you spend time with both technologies, you really do see they just don't compete.
Yeah. So China is asking, what your all favorite top 3 HDR games all the time? Oh yeah, I have.
I can tell you my one. You go ahead first, Marcus.
Okay, I have God of War, Ragnarok, then Horizon Forbidden West, and I have to say Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars.
Have you ever seen the Lego Star Wars? Lego Star Wars. I don't know if there's. I think it's just Lego Star Wars.
The Skywalker Saga, the latest one.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic HDR. To be very honest, I love it.
I will agree on that one. For me, I only really have one that comes to mind. It's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, it's a bit of an old game, and when it first came out, it had really, really bad reviews. It was all like pay to win, that type of stuff. And they've completely fixed that game. I still play the hell out of that game. And even though it's a Xbox One title, I still believe, because I have the G4 at the moment, so I play most of my games either on that or a C1. That game still blows my mind how polished. It's interesting because I play Outlaws now. Man, if you go play Battlefront 2 campaign or even multiplayer, that game, in my opinion, looks like it's a generation ahead of all the modern games. I don't know how familiar you guys are, but Battlefront 2 is a masterpiece in my opinion. So yeah, I just play that sometimes because I like how good it looks.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's also a new topic for a new stream. The latest AAA games, they're not looking as good as older games, in my opinion. 4K is not 4K anymore. I mean, I'm not even talking about DLSS and FSR, whatever, but in general, the sharpness from the games is just not there anymore. Everything is just blurry. But I like to change my opinion. Alan Wake 2 is better than Star Wars, Lego Star Wars. Alan Wake 2. This is great in HDR. Yeah.
This one's for you, Marcus.
I'm not saying this SDR is better than HDR. I'm also saying the feature on this TV, and it works very similar to outer HDR. Oh, okay. So now I got you. Okay. I mean, look, I haven't seen it. All what I'm saying is, I mean, I agree with you. If there's a feature like that and it makes, let's say like this, it looks like outer HDR, because outer HDR on the Xbox PC is an absolute fantastic feature, then I would use this any day. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? I'm just maybe we misunderstood. I'm talking about people getting their LCD TV and changing. And usually the out of the box setting is everything is set to 100 vivid mode or something like that. And then they're playing like this for ages, and then they're getting maybe 5 years later a brand new TV. Maybe they're getting really, let's say, the G5 now. And the game starts in HDR and is saying, this is not nice. It's way too dark, That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, good feature.
Yeah. Actually, that brings me up to maybe some questions I might throw at the people who are with us on the stream. So as I mentioned earlier, Marcus and I have this video in the pipeline where we're going to purchase 3 TVs, and we're trying to shortlist these TVs. So we wanted to try and, I guess, figure out what are our must-haves. Because as I said, there are quite a lot of budget Hisense and TCL TVs that are edge lit or backlit. I'm thinking we should get full array local dimming as a minimum. I'm not sure, because if we're going to put it against an OLED, we know all day if it doesn't have dimming zones, it's not even worth putting it next to an OLED. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out, and maybe the stream can contribute, like what are the minimum things, say on a sub $1,000 TCL, Hisense, and maybe one other, that we must have on this TV. Do you have any thoughts, Marcus?
I mean, look, I'm just bringing up JB Hi-Fi again and have a look, because I don't know the price range actually. What we talk, I know what we're talking about, but what can you get actually for under $1,000? I'm not sure. Let me have a look. TVs by screen size. No, TVs by price, please.
Are you sharing your screen, or are you doing this
in
offline?
a second?
Oh, sure.
Let's go to Hisense, okay? Let's go to Hisense, percent share screen. This one you click. Okay. So this is Hisense. I can do this. Price low. Let's do this.
So I changed the screen type to 4K up the top as well, because there's some HD TVs there. And then
we don't want HD.
Yeah, and then I also went. There's another one. See the screen type. So where you just click. So there's QLED TVs. So all of those QLED TVs are edge or backlit. So
yeah, mini LED is probably but
yeah.
I don't know if you just go. Sorry, if you just
you
go
have to
for
select those two. Yeah, they will show you everything with a mini LED or a full array local dimming.
Okay, so this is low to high. Okay, low. The lowest is already 995.
Yeah, U6 NAU. I was looking at that. Yeah. So I had the same. I reviewed a Hisense U9G, I believe it was. There's a video on my channel if anyone's interested, and it also had this partial HDMI 2.1 support, which really pissed me off. So whenever I connected my Series X to it, the Series X, you know how you can go to that checklist that tells you what the TV is compatible with. So if it can do 4K 120 HDR, all those kind of things. The TV kept telling the Xbox it can do 4K 120, or no, I think it was HD 120. But basically, I just found these partial HDMI 2.1 TVs confused the hell out of both the PlayStation and the Xbox. So I had a bit of a bad experience, and it appears these low-end TVs don't do 120 FPS. They're all 60 hertz panels, and they still have this weird partial HDMI support, which is why they can put 2.1 on the box, which is what I'm kind of rallying against. I don't think they should be able to put HDR and 2.1 branding on the boxes, because it really is misleading the customers.
It is, but this is interesting. So I clicked here. This is TCL. And this apparently has 144 hertz.
Is it 144 hertz smooth motion?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because if you scroll down, you go to specs. Just a little bit further down. There's a just there. So what's it saying? Yeah, so refresh rate. Okay, so it actually does have a refresh rate. A lot of the Hisense TVs, the cheaper ones on JB Hi-Fi, will say 120 hertz screen motion, but then you look at the panel and it's only 60 hertz. Again, misleading the consumers.
Yeah. So this is a 50-inch, you know?
That's great. That's perfect.
But that's not bad, really. I mean, but you know, you pay already $1,000 for a 50-inch, but I mean the specs are not too bad. Just pure numbers, you know what I mean? Picture quality, of course, we have no idea.
Yeah.
But something like that, will be interesting. You know what I mean? And you can see we're already talking about $1,000 easily. There's nothing else what you can recommend. Not even close. You know.
But that's the problem, though. If there are sub $1,000 TVs, and they do advertise. That's what I'm saying. They do advertise gaming features, and HDR, but they're all edge lit and backlit TVs. So that's my problem. That frustrates me. But
now we looked at just hang on. So now we looked at let's do this again. Let's go to TCL again, and we looked at screen type. Where's screen type?
Can you click on that where it says HDMI 2.1 inputs just to your right? Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's talking about the
So
amount of
input, how
inputs. Yeah,
many you
got you.
have. Okay.
Got you.
Let me try this again, because we actually didn't select any. Well, let's go for TCL. Where's my screen type? Because I did QD mini LEDs. So when we go
Yep.
for just for QLEDs, of course we should have actually cheaper ones now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're all backlit. No dimming.
But what we have here, let's go here for 144, and okay, this should be a
That's
good
a
one.
98 inch.
98 inch. Okay, let's try, because let's have
Let's just do
120.
120.
85 inch.
85.
It's still okay. Let's have a look. I like to, because maybe you're right, and they actually, no, it's also 120.
Go to the
here-
Hisense brands when you have a second, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Let me try this. Hisense.
Yeah.
Screen type,
so-
going for QLED. Yeah, let's go for this
yeah,
one.
just go them. So if you arrange
And
them,
140. Just three.
that's the 100-inch TV there. They're coming out with a new range that looks like it's copying the Frame TV from Samsung. But if you can just remove
Okay.
that frame rate option,
This one.
just remove that. Yeah. So all these TVs, these are the backlit TVs I was talking about. So they're all. If you click on, say, the 50-inch, the 695,
This one.
just 50-inch.
695. This one.
Yep. So if we scroll down to the specs, I think this was the one I was looking at.
Hey.
There it is.
So 60. Motion rate 120. Yeah.
See, this is what I don't like. See, motion rate 120, but the refresh rate is 60 hertz. So what does that mean? What does that say to you if you're a gamer and you're looking into that?
So it would be interesting where they actually, what they're advertising then, because again, it's just a 60 hertz screen. So maybe the internal motion or handling or whatever is 120, which again doesn't make much difference, because it maybe is a little bit better than pure 60 motion. But again, it's a 60 hertz screen.
See, this is what I'm frustrated at. These are edge lit panels that are showing gaming features and HDR, where obviously you can't get HDR on an edge lit panel, or you can't get anything that's going to be good. And then they're saying, oh, it's got 120 motion, but a 60 hertz panel. I feel like just using that 120 motion is quite misleading, in my opinion. So this is what I was getting at. So a lot of these TVs, as I said, they have these partial 2.1 support where they do have VRR and auto low latency mode, but they don't offer the frame rates and things like that. So we really do need to shortlist what we're going to do, but I think that's you, Marcus, is it? Or
the better one. Don't tell Brian this, okay?
Yeah,
it's the Australian version. Yeah, absolutely. That's how it is.
Yeah. So I do think it's going to be really eye-opening. As I said, I think a part of the process, shortlisting the TV, should be fun. We really need to decide if we feel that, say.
So what is the audience? What? So okay, let's ask the audience. What TVs should we test? So we're talking about mid-range. We're talking about below $1,000 Australian dollars. Okay. But most of, I don't know if you're from Australia right now or from wherever, but we try to, of course, get the best bang for the bucks. Is this the right saying? Yeah, I think so. So we don't want to get $2,000 TVs and then it's not. If you go back to the previous screen, it was 120, but under that it said 144 VR. Yeah, that's the same thing. It's weird. I don't know which one this was. Was this one? No, this was not.
That was the TCL, I remember.
Yeah. But I know, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can it have 144 hertz VR when it's 120 hertz?
Exactly like the TCL. How can it have 120 hertz smooth motion with a 60 hertz panel? What trick? What is it doing? And what is the result? See, for me, I don't want to buy that TV, but just to see what that means, I'm very curious, and I'd like to buy that TV just to see, like, what is that? What does that mean? What is it actually doing? Can we show what the difference is between? Do you know what I mean? That almost makes me want to buy it just to see what that TV is trying to.
Maybe there's nothing. They just put something on the specs. I don't know. I can't explain it. I can just, smooth motion, maybe it looks like 200 or 120 hertz, but how can it look like? It doesn't make sense. If you have 60 hertz, then it's 60 hertz. That's the maximum what you can get.
Look, for
Not on
a budget TV gaming, I'm not against having a 60 hertz panel with VRR. I think VRR is probably one of the best features that you can get, because let's face it, most of the games we're all bitching about are coming out at 30 FPS or even 60 if we're lucky. You know what I mean? So like, for example, Star Wars Outlaws, that had a 40 hertz performance mode. I think you made a video on that. I was watching that one. And you're saying that's the best one to play. So for example, a budget TV that can do VRR and, lock onto a 40 hertz signal, nothing wrong with that, man, for the price.
No, I need to interrupt you here. It's not possible. You need 120 hertz then minimum for 40 FPS to have a stutter-free or VSync or tearing-free experience. And PlayStation 5 or Xbox would not even output 40 FPS then, if there's no 120 hertz screen.
That's right, because the VRR range is from 40 to 120 hertz, correct?
It's not about the VRR range, but to display 40 FPS, you need 120 hertz, or you would need 40 hertz, or you need 80 hertz or 240 hertz, something like that, which fits in this 40 FPS. And then plus the VRR range, of course, for LFC to work and whatever, you need to double or triple the frames. So you need 120 hertz.
Yeah, good catch.
That's how it is. So that's why I personally, if someone is really buying a TV or monitor just for gaming, don't get a 60 hertz. Don't get a 60 hertz. You have to pay a little bit more. You have to save more. Get 120 hertz minimum. Here it is, SPCL chance. TCL indeed crazy misleading. I just saw it because usually I'm not looking at TCL or Hisense, but yes, you're right. If I read this and you wouldn't have any idea what you're actually reading, you would fall for this probably, which is not good.
Well, again, this is the whole point of this video that Marcus and I will be creating, is when we buy these 3 TVs, we're going to show you the whole process. We're going to, in the studio, a bit more informal. We're going to unbox them. We're going to put them all side by side, all 3 of them, and then really try to pull out of that panel what it's doing or what it's not doing. So I think this is going to be really interesting.
So, but this is actually a question. So, I mean, beside the fact that companies are misleading, but if we're now talking about the average buyer, would the average buyer actually know the difference? Probably not. But I get your point, because the average buyer looks at specs or whatever. Oh, I'm getting this for the same money as this one. Wow. 200 hertz or whatever, 120 hertz, smooth resolution, whatever, HDMI 4.78, blah, 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 whatever. I'm just making crap up. But he would not know the difference, but he is going to buy because of the numbers, of the higher numbers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's again, just to add on top of that, Marcus, is that's again why I get annoyed when brands put 2.1 or HDR on the box, because a lot of people don't know HDR isn't, they think HDR or 2.1 is just like an option on the TV. When you speak to people who really don't care too much about TVs and don't follow it, they think, oh, my Xbox says it's HDMI 2.1 compatible. Any TV that says it on the box, that's going to do the correct job. Do you know what I mean? They're just looking for that badge. And that's what I've seen with people I know, like friends, family. They're like, oh, the TV says HDR. The TV says 2.1. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so hard to explain. You really have to know.
But especially with, I would need to see this, because especially with the HDMI forum or whatever, they are actually very, very behind this, that the company's displaying the right numbers or the right specs. So as far as I know, if you don't have let's say HDMI VRR capabilities, you can't call your HDMI 2.1. You can't call it. But that's as far as I know.
Do you remember how the HDMI forum changed the specification parameters of HDMI? So they changed HDMI 2.0 to actually mean 2.1. So there's now another spec in front of that. So if you have a HDMI 2 TV that only supports, I think it's 18 gigabits and a 60 FPS panel, if it has any HDMI 2.1 feature, you can now call it a HDMI 2.1 TV. So even if it's a 60 hertz panel, 18 gigabits bandwidth, is if it has auto low latency mode or VRR, then you can put 2.1 on the box. I'm not sure if you've read into that or not.
Because it's limited to 60 hertz and you just need 18 gigabits. That's absolutely, but in this case, I mean, look, in this case, you're not missing anything out because it will support HDMI 2.1 features up to 60 hertz or just 60 hertz, you know? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, for me and a lot of people, HDMI 2.1 and 4K 120 are kind of synonymous. You kind of think those two, one can't come without the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because usually you have 40 or whatever, what's 48 gigabits for HDMI 2.1, the full bandwidth. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, but I get your point. So from a technical point of view, they're not missing anything out because the panel can't deliver more than 60 hertz. But people may think, oh, I have HDMI 2.1, and just last week I read it's 4K 144 hertz, whatever. You know, yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm just going to send you a link if you. I thought it might be interesting to pull it up on the screen just while we're on this topic before we move on. It's that one of the Hisense TVs I was looking at. I'll just show you the spec sheet and really show you what I'm talking about. So when you get a chance, if you can bring that up.
Yeah, is it this one? Yeah.
It's just a PDF, yeah. So if you can zoom in just a little bit on that, it's a bit hard to see. Perfect. So, whoa. All right. So can you just zoom out just a touch because I can't see the sidebars blocking.
Just hang.
There you go. So you see the smooth motion rate, 120, native refresh rate, 60. And then it has, if you scroll down a little bit to where it says HDMI 1, 2, and 3, if you continue to go down, there you go.
HDMI 1, 2, and 3, yeah.
Look at the spec there. So if you go to the right.
Yeah, okay. But they're still calling it HDMI 2.0.
Yeah, but on the box, they often put 2.1. But yeah, the spec's been so muddied, it's very confusing. That's what I'm saying.
So this is interesting because just hang on, where is more? We have 100 and the native, yeah, at least they're putting native. 300, that's okay. And this is supporting Dolby Vision.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They put HDR, they put Dolby Vision, they put HDMI 2.1. And if you look at the panel, it's not even a full array local dimming panel. It's just an edge lit panel. If you go up to the very top where they say category, that's where they put that QLED, that just means direct lit.
Yeah.
So that to me is an absolute joke. If someone's walking into a store and let's say somebody comes to your house and they watched a show on Netflix that had Dolby Vision and they were like, man, like that your G2 or whatever, and they go, that looks sick, and they say, what is that? You go, oh, it's HDR Dolby Vision. They walk into a store, they see that TV for $600 and it says HDR Dolby Vision on it. See what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So this is just crap, really, absolutely crap. 300 nits, it's SDR. That's how it is. Oh my goodness. Okay, the brand even giving training how to mislead. Yeah. I know. You need to. That's why I never can be a salesperson. I can't be a salesperson because I can't lie to people, or I don't know if you call it lying, but leaving out the facts. Like something like that. No.
Yeah, that was actually a video idea I wanted to do. I wanted to get somebody kind of mic me up wirelessly, because I used to do it on my own when I'd shop TVs. If I'm going into, say, a big box retailer, I'd go in there and talk to the TV guy, the TV rep, and I would just ask him a whole bunch of dumb questions like that I already knew the answers to, just to see what kind of answers I would get.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And quite often I thought, man, this would make a really interesting video. Say if I mic myself up and somebody recorded me from like the other side of the store, just to see the kind of sales tactics they use. It's really interesting. You go, oh, I'm a gamer. This is what I'm looking for. And they push you on
That's
that.
why, yeah, no, I agree. And I'm feeling sad for the people they getting really trapped into this, because to be honest, I mean, hey, I went to Bunnings. So Bunnings is our big, what is the name called? A bidding workshop
It's like
floor.
like a Walmart kind of. It's a
Like,
Walmart.
yeah, I don't know. It's like, you buy all
Home
your
Depot.
Home Depot, yeah. So, and because of my decking, I was going to paint my decking, and I literally had no idea about that it's actually you use oil and not paint. Okay. Anyway, so I learned this very fast, and I asked this guy what is the best oil and whatever. And he just literally didn't know shit. I knew more because, of course, I did my research before. What is the best oil? What brush should I use? And blah blah blah. So I'm the guy. When I need to buy something, I'm doing my research already at home because I know, first of all, I don't want to get told stories from people. They literally have no idea because all what they're not experts, Bunnings or Home Depot is not employing an oil decking expert. That's not how it's working. The same for TVs, you know what I mean? They're just reading from a sheet, and that's what you get. And it's annoying.
A lot of the time, they're just someone that's looking for a job and they like TVs or whatever it is, and they hang out in that area.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I get this, but this is why I feel sad for people because I'm always thinking about the single mom with the kids and they're trying to buy something. It doesn't matter what. They're getting just ripped off every time. Because they have, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying women don't know, but you get my point, you know what I mean? So usually they don't have time, they don't want to get involved with this stuff, they just want to buy something what their kids need. And even it's a bike or whatsoever, they're getting ripped off because, people trying to I'm getting mad of this, really. That's I can't be a salesperson, you know what I mean? I wouldn't sell anything. That's the problem. Anyway, different topic.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if we want to do it on a live stream or we can do it offline, whether we decide what TVs we're going to pick and what the criteria is. But I think it's going to be really interesting. As I said, so let's just say we purchased that TV and that was in one of our 3 TVs we were going to test against. I still think it would be super interesting to see, with that kind of spec, what kind of result we would get. Because I don't think a lot of people would maybe, like, especially in our channels, wouldn't buy something like that.
Look, I would actually, the problem is, of course, when we go there and buy something, you don't see the packaging, I would really like to see, or let's, I don't know if they have maybe in the shops different, how should I say, advertising, and then in online, I'm not quite sure, maybe they're putting a little bit different, I don't know, better numbers on advertising in the shops than online. So maybe it's a better idea to go there and play absolutely dumb, as you said. I mean, it's probably hard to record this because we shouldn't do that because this is a complete different story, But just we can talk about our experience later on, without filming someone. And really just play dumb, have a little bit of an idea. I mean, we have ideas, of course, but we will realize really, really fast if someone likes to rip us off or if someone is really honest and try to get us the best TV for the money that we have. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, whatever you think, you know what I mean? I mean, we can decide now. I'm not even, I wouldn't know which TV to get. It's so hard to decide,
How do I add something into the stage? What button do I click? Is it the new layout?
You have present here. You can present and then you can.
Yes. Do you mind if I throw something up?
Yeah. Of course.
I'll just show you 1 second. If I'm sharing, I'm just going to share. Okay, so it's this one. So can you see that there?
I can see that, yeah.
So if any of you guys are interested, so this was a TV review I did a while ago, and so this was the Hisense U9G. This was the flagship mini LED for 2021, and so I put that up against my Neo QLED, which is in the background, and my LG C1. So this was supposed to have like a super advanced mini LED backlight with tons of zones, and so this is just me. I've got a HDMI splitter. So the same content on my Neo QLED in the background is on the panel there. And I've just cranked up the exposure and gone off angle. And you can see how shocking that TV is. If you can see the difference in the contrast. And so again, this was one of the TVs that had the partial HDMI 2.1 support.
Don't play.
Oh,
We
I
don't
can't
want
play.
to get
Oh yeah, a
don't
strike.
copyright. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's it's quite interesting. As I said, I don't know if I can copyright
Oh,
strike
my
my own video,
goodness.
but you can see
That's
the blooming there around everything. So yeah, again, we'll just have to delve into this when we purchase our 3 TVs coming up. So I'm really excited, man. I'm just, as I said, this is something, when you sit down with your friends and you're passionate about it, like you really rave on about it, but this is the first chance we're going to actually be able to really show like what the differences are.
It will be interesting, and it will be not easy, to be honest. I mean, Hisense, TCL, and then I don't know if there's Falcon or whatever you call this,
Yeah.
And even, we talked about Aldi brand or whatever, you know what I mean, what we have, or Big W brand or whatever.
Yeah.
Here, FF Falcon, we have FF Falcon here.
Yeah, JVC and Big W, and then I think it's Born, BHAUN in Aldi, if my memory serves correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Falcon. 75-inch TV for $900. That sounds like a catch.
Well, the F Falcons are essentially TCLs.
Just even cheaper.
Yeah, they're just rebadged TCLs. They're TCL's budget brand. So if you think TCL's a budget brand, they're not anymore, because they're often trying to compete at every level.
Yeah.
These Chinese brands are jumping in. It's amazing at every price point. When they first started, they were the cheapest TVs. Now you look at every size, every category, they have an entry into that segment, from the cheap, $400-$500 TVs all the way to the, $3,000-$4,000 TVs now.
The Median was in Germany, correct? I remember this. Median was in Germany, yeah. It's all Aldi have their own, I think, brands all around the world, And it's probably the same. It's just a different level. Probably. Yeah. No, but this would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, look, the comment section is open anyway after this live stream, so you can put some ideas in what TVs we should get. Yeah. Again, we're not trying to buy high-end TVs, because we know then how it doesn't make sense to get an S95D, G4, and A95L or whatever, because we know there's not much of a difference. You know what I mean? We like to see how the mid-range TVs, what we think should be the absolute minimum. Let's say like this: the absolute minimum what you should get to play games, compete against the G4. Okay, which would be a very interesting.
Yeah, or just a entry level HDR presentation. So when you go onto Netflix and you watch something in Dolby Vision or HDR, what is the bare minimum that you can say, okay, this is an acceptable or reasonable HDR presentation, rather than just like a backlit mess.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for today, huh?
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome.
Cool. So again, as always, thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure. And we're looking forward to do more live streams like that.
Yeah.
With different topics, but most of the time, of course, we'd be ranting about stuff, okay? It's not this, but
I just quickly highlight this comment before we take off. So AP said, best to just get a 1 or 2 year old flagship OLED or the top of the line mini mini LED, save lots of money. So the problem is, just quickly touching on that, is that if you wait too long, OLEDs do sell out. In the past, I think when the C2 came out, I waited really long for the best budget deal I could on a C1. And sometimes you do miss out. They just sell out. So it's hard to get a 2-year-old flagship OLED brand new in the box unless you're purchasing it secondhand. Buying secondhand, that's another debate to have had. But I think the main goal of this video is to buy a 2024-25 TV a mid to low range TV and see how it competes against the top of the line TV. So it's not about getting the best, I guess, getting as close as you can to an OLED, but it's about the average consumer walking into a store and going, well, there's an OLED there for $3,000 65, and then there's a $800 65-inch TV here, and it has the same logos and badges on it. So, let's put them up against each other. Let's see if those thousands of dollars are actually making a difference.
Yeah, and they will. But is it worth it? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's answer our question for the video then.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, Adam. It was, as always, a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus, and everyone who's joined in. Thank you very much. Yeah. We always appreciate all your comments and questions. It helps us add better content through the stream. So thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. See you guys.